Is it a shock factor? Is it the hook? Is it an audio hook or a visual hook? What is it?
Well, I mean, the most important thing in a video, 10 days in, I had a video get like 300,000 views. And I was like, oh, shit.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the episode of the 8 Limbs podcast. Really pumped for this one. We have Ryan Magin on the show, and a lot of you guys probably know who this gentleman is. If you don't, he has been responsible for some of the short form content for guys like Grant Cardone, Brandon Carter, Ryan Pineda, Jordan Michaela Peterson. I'm so excited to pick this man's brain, learn from him today, and bring you guys some value. Ryan, welcome on, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, so we're gonna get right into it, because if you guys look at the screen behind Ryan, you can see we've got some of his content up, and you can see those numbers do not lie. So I'm looking at 7.3 M, 4.7 M. When you get to an M on social media, something has been done right, and these are not fabricated. So Ryan has been able to really hack and figure out what people respond to well. And, we're going to start right now. So where does this all start for you? Going back, let's zoom out a little bit. How'd you get into video?
So I've been...
Guys, this episode of the 8 Limbs podcast is brought to you by Cold Plunge. This is the Rolls Royce of all of the ice bath units you're seeing now. It is all the rage, and they by far have the most premium unit. It is beautifully aesthetic to look at, so anywhere you put it, you're going to love to see it. It's going to be calling you in every single day. The cold water gives you so much energy, removes inflammation, gets rid of your body fat, and just all around builds your mental toughness by getting yourself to get in every single day. I love this unit. It is a set it and forget it type unit. You don't have to do much besides a little bit of water maintenance. If you're interested in buying one, use code 8LIMBS at checkout.
Making videos for, I'm 40 now, so I have to give some credit to my dad. He's been a video editor like half of his life. He was like making videos before GoPro was a thing. He was like putting the little cameras in cars and stuff. But the irony is I never messed with video at all while my dad was doing any of that. He never actually taught me editing. I just always kind of saw him editing. So I guess by osmosis, when it's like, oh, I need to make videos, I just figured it out because like my dad did. So I was just
you saw it was possible. Like, I know what it's like.
Yeah. So it kind of started there. But it really started. I was actually a professional BMX racer, and I was working at Lowe's Home Improvement at the time, the one right over on 22nd Avenue.
You were there yesterday.
Yeah, I've been there a lot since my house. And so I learned a lot of sales through Lowe's. But when I was working there and I had the opportunity to turn pro on my bike, I was like, I'm gonna regret this if I don't. So I kind of like tried to stay working at Lowe's and ride my bike. It ended up getting a little messy. I ended up quitting Lowe's. I put in my 2 weeks. I wasn't a jerk, but I kind of burned that bridge. Started on my own. Realized I had a 401k, cashed it out. It was like 15 grand I had saved up in 401k. So I lived on that for like a year, like living very minimally, moved back in with my parents, traveled the country, ride my bike, had a few like sponsors here and there, did a little race winnings, but I realized I'm like, I need to make money. I'm like broke. So I started like training kids on the side because that's what you do when you have a sport. And I loved lifting weights, so it was like a natural thing. But then that wasn't really doing so well, and I was like tired of waking up at like 6 a.m. and I was like, man, what am I gonna do here? And this is when like the internet was just starting to become a thing. YouTube was like brand new. And I said, man, maybe if I just make, a DVD for BMXers to get faster on their bike, then I can get rich and sell that. Because I read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and that's what he said. He made it seem real easy. Shout out to Tim. But I actually begged my dad to help.
Yeah, shout out to Tim. I'm sure Tim has redirected a lot of our lives from that book. I was an early reader.
I've never experienced the 4-Hour Workweek, so I don't know. But
it's a phenomenon, but the gist is there.
Yeah, but because of that book, I was exposed to I can make a digital product, which in this case was a physical DVD, which then became a streaming DVD at some point. But I made the DVD, made all the packaging. My dad helped me a lot do that. I started selling it, and it wasn't selling. And I was like, shit, well, how do I sell it? And then I was actually really good friends with Elliot Hulse, who's a really OG local guy, YouTuber. We're still friends to this day. He's like, I would say he's more of a friend, but also a mentor. And he was like, you got to promote yourself, man. You got to make videos. So I was like, I just started making videos about like my training and like this and that and the other. And I was putting them to like Vidler. It wasn't even YouTube back then.
I remember that website.
Yeah. And then, sure enough, it started working a little bit. People were sharing my videos. Like, this is like email sharing. Like, they're sending it to like parents and emails. And then the DVD, it did okay. I mean, I had a little website. I had an email list. Like, it was growing. I maybe made a few $1,000s a month. But after doing, like, my whole life was succumbed by BMXing. And like, it was like I was training to race as a pro. And then I was training kids on the side. Then I was filming videos. And then I was selling the DVDs out of my backpack. I was selling them. Everything I did was about BMX. And I basically just burned out. And I said, fuck it. And I quit. And I haven't touched the BMX bike since. I still cycle a lot regularly, but and then that kind of morphed into me finding affiliate marketing, which again, I knew video. So I was like, yo, nobody's like reviewing products and I stuck with the fitness niche. And I started creating like little mini review websites. And that's what I saw like my first like somewhat success on the internet. And I would say success is I was making a consistent, like probably around $500 a day, sometimes $1,000 a day. What I was doing is kind of now would be kind of slimy. I'm not proud of it because I think it was brilliant. Like one of the sites that I had, and this is for context so people know, is the Jersey Shore hadn't started yet. So this is a long time ago. And I watched the preview. I was actually going to see Iron Man 1 in the theater. That's how old I am. Like Iron Man 1 in the theater, before
Tony Stark.
Yeah, before Iron Man started, there was a preview for this new hit MTV show that was coming out in like a few weeks called the MTV's Jersey Shore. And I looked at the cast and I was like, yo, they're all shredded. I bet one of them is going to have a workout DVD at some point. So maybe I can steal some traffic from that. So I literally from the theater bought jerseyshorabs.com, .net, .org, and I was just spending money the whole Iron Man movie on domain names. And then I own I own The Situation, workout.com, .net, .org. I own Jersey Shore Abs. I own I had so many. And then I would go and I went home and then for the next week I just built websites. This is WordPress websites back then, so they were very easy and quick to make. And I would just hypothetically, I would write workout articles that I thought they would do. I could look at Mike, the situation. I'm like, he probably focuses on his upper chest. So let's say he does some 5 sets of 10 on the incline. And I was writing workout articles. And then I just let the sites be. And I actually forgot about them for the most part. And then Jersey Shore came out. And I was like, oh, shit, that show's starting this week. Let me go and link some affiliate products on there to sell some shit. And I did. And then sure enough, every Thursday night at 8 p.m. from 8 to 9, Jersey Shore would play on MTV. I would sit there and I would watch it. And then from about 9 to midnight, I would just watch my bank account fill up. Because people were Googling Mike, The Situation, abs, Ronnie from Jersey Shore abs, Ronnie from Jersey Shore workout. All these people were coming back to my site, and then there just happened to be products there to sell workouts and supplements. And when this worked, at its peak, Jersey Shore sites were worth around $1,000 a week for me. So I was like, okay. So then I went on and I made about 500 more sites for all different things and topics. And, I systematized it. I turned it into I had 2 freelance employees working from the Philippines for $5 an hour. I made it a thing, and I did it for about 6-8 months, really, really, I would say successfully. And then it got kind of saturated. There was some competition, and then Google changed their algorithm, and it all went away overnight. Okay. But what I did manage to do was not save a single penny. Shout out to downtown St. Pete, Vintage Nightclub, and a lot of different travels and Vegas. And yep, I just blew a bunch of money, and then that turned into, during this process, I actually did meet my fiance, who I'm currently still with my fiance. We have a child together. Things were getting kind of, messy, as far as I was kind of broke again, trying to figure things out. I was never totally broke because some of the sites didn't die completely. So there's still some money coming in. But we ended up having a lot of fights, and then we ended up breaking up, and we broke up for about a year. And then during that year, I just kind of decided I need to reinvent myself. I was like, I don't like who I am anymore. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm way too smart to be doing these gray hat, seemingly criminal things on the internet, which they weren't illegal. There was nothing illegal about it.
Yeah, just had a grime to it.
Yeah, it's just I wasn't proud to say that I did that.
Sure.
And I found what do I do? I need to change how I look. So I started watching YouTube videos on men's fashion and style. I found Aaron Marino, I am Alpha M.
Alpha M. I have his products in my bathroom still.
Yeah, so it's Alpha M, fucking Antonio Centeno. This is before Teaching Men's Fashion. Jose hadn't started yet. But I found masculine style. I found all these cool style people, but none of them were talking about at the time I was a hurt individual. And I was trying to go out and hook up with chicks to get over the fact that I just got dumped. So I was like, okay, let's so I changed the way I looked. I spent a bunch of money on clothes that I really didn't have, but I started going out. I started meeting women, talking to women. I was like, yo, this is really easy. When you don't look like shit, women tend to approach you. And then that turned into my friends asking me for help to have them dress. They're like, dude, yeah. And then I was like, wait, if my friends need this help and I needed this help, I was like, somebody else needs help.
Yeah.
So I created a YouTube channel called Handsome Guy Secrets. and it's still up to this day. And I just started making videos every day, and they were very ugly, very unedited, but I was talking about what I was buying, but I was doing it from the angle of wear this to get laid. And I was the first person to do that. Now it's common. There's a lot of
There's a whole pickup industry.
yeah,
now.
the whole pickup industry. Like I wanted to plug into the pickup industry because I knew that they needed fashion and style, and nobody in there was talking about it.
There was a guy's name Owen.
Owen Cook, yep.
He's turned into like a mountain man.
Yeah, he's like a motivational guy now. I don't know what's up with him lately.
But there was a time when he was like a dapper, like style dude, and nowadays his content's like a gigantic beard.
Yeah, that beard's
and, like,
a lot.
Glasses, and I was like, whoa, is he not doing the pickup thing anymore? I remember seeing his stuff, but
Well, I mean, he's like 40, so
Yeah,
I mean, I'd
maybe.
hope he's not doing that. I mean, maybe he is.
so is Aaron Marino. He's like 44, looking better than ever.
Yeah, but he's
Still
made. I mean,
dialed in.
like, we ended up so I mean, so fast forward, like, so I did that. The YouTube channel became kind of successful to a degree. I was making like a nice 6 figures like from the YouTube channel, and like so I had a bunch of digital products, and but the cool thing about that was I got signed to Aaron Marino and Antonio Santano's agency, which was called Menfluential Media, and I was starting to get paid, to do videos, and this was really cool. But during this process, I got back together with my now fiance that we broke up. So we got back together. We
Congrats on that.
Yeah, we both worked on ourselves, and it was like a whole new relationship, and it was amazing. So we got back together about a year after all this happened, and now I'm making all these videos.
She's like, "What are you doing? You're in a relationship, boy."
I mean, she was happy about it but I was like, at the same point, it's like I couldn't really, with good conscience, tell guys how to go out and get laid and wear
agree with
this.
you on that. Ethics would be against you. At
Yeah,
that point.
and I did it for a little bit, like I had to, because it was like my livelihood. So I was like, and it just got to the point, and then we had, she got pregnant, and we had our daughter. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is just not. I'm just like, I don't not like this, but it's just like I'm not this person. I'm not going out on Friday. I'm not going out to get a jacket, tell me get laid anymore.
Yep.
Like, so I just quit. I'm very good at just stopping things. Like if they had a good run, and I just stop it. So I did that, and then I was smarter this time. I had saved some money, so I had a little bit saved up to where I wasn't like stressing, and I was able to last about 6-8 months. And during that time, I started messing around with Instagram, because when you focus on one platform, like I'm a big believer in like you need to focus on one and get it to a sizable size, and then you can kind of diversify. I don't believe in being everywhere at once. My focus at that time was YouTube. So I was really late to Instagram, but I was early to Instagram stories. So I focused heavily on stories, which was basically just vertical video. But at the time,
Snapchat.
Yeah.
From Snapchat, right?
And it came from like, it was mainly like Vine and Snapchat. And then, so I started making like little highly edited 30-second videos, just putting them in my stories. And I would do one every day. And I did one every day for almost like a year and a half. And then in that process, what had happened was all the companies that used to sponsor me for videos from Menfluential Media, hey, can you come do ads for us? Like, we really like your creative. We like what you're doing. So I was starting to get paid to go do ads. And so I was like, oh, cool, I can do this. So I had like my first little agency, which wasn't a big thing at the time. I brought on Savannah, who's a girl that she still works for me to this day. I was like, hey, I need some freelance help. Can you help me? So it's like I had like it was me and her. Like, and then that was it. I wasn't flying. Like I was flying a little bit. And then I started doing like the Gary Vee style videos with like the progress bar and stuff. And like, that's where it started making, a decent amount of money. I don't really remember what it was making. But leading up to the pandemic, like, I was doing a couple thousand, maybe like 6,000 to 8,000 a month. And right up to the pandemic, like everything locked down, like all like the shittier clients that I had all canceled and asked me for like a refund. And I remember I had like some savings, but I didn't think I had more than like $10,000. Like, which I mean, and I basically refunded out, and I was doing like $2,000 a month things. So I was like, shit, I only have enough to refund like 3 or 4, and then I'm broke.
Why they want refunds?
Because they panicked because of COVID. Everybody freaked out. At least in my world, everybody just panicked.
Yeah.
And I basically I refunded like 2 of them because it was like the way it fell. They just didn't want to like continue, but I had already done a lot of the work for like the next like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
So like they were just kind of fucking me. So I refunded I think I refunded half. I refunded like two people, which would have been about $4,000. And then I looked at like my 5,000 or whatever in there, and I was like, yo, I can't refund anybody else. So I basically started telling anybody else, I was like, no, I can't refund you. I'm sorry. They got pissed, and like a couple of them charged me back. And then the chargeback process is kind of annoying. But what had happened was I started lockdown basically at like negative in my bank account, and I was broke again. I ended up winning all the chargebacks because I had contracts, and I ended up winning them all. So all the money comes back, but it's such a slow process.
Sure,
if you ever, I'm sure you've had a chargeback before. It's annoying. Like, you have to prove that you actually did what you say, which I understand why it's there. But I ended up winning all that back, but it took like 4 or 5 months to get the money back. And then, but during that process, lockdown starts. I'm now at home because I'm the entrepreneur. My fiance is a nurse, so she's going to work every day. Like, the world's ending, and we don't know what's happening. Because she's like in the thick of it, working at like a dialysis center. So I'm just hanging out with my now, I think Chandler was 3 or 4 at the time. I'm like just hanging out, and I got bored. I was like, I'm broke and I'm bored and I'm hanging out with my kid. Like, what am I doing? And I was just like, fuck it. Like, this TikTok thing's, I considered starting another YouTube channel where I talked about making videos, and that was like, but I looked at it realistically. I'm like, this is a year before I make any money. Like, I say, I need to make money like yesterday. And the only thing I have is like this new thing called TikTok. And I said, nobody really cared about it yet. It was still like, you remember like lockdown?
Yeah.
Like the hand washing.
I didn't want to hear about it. People were bringing it up, and I was like, okay, some new thing. Like, I didn't want anyone to hear about it.
So like, I knew people would think like that. And I said, it could be something. So I said, let me give it a good try. And I'm a big, I like force constraints on myself. I don't know why I like that. I've just been a fan of shit like that. So I'm like, I'm going to give myself 1 hour every day. And I'm going to do this for 90 days. So at the end of this, I have 90 videos. And I'm going to post the video. It's like, I'm going to film for an hour. I'm going to film for as fast as I can. And then I'm going to edit it. Because at the time, it was only 15 seconds. So it didn't really take that long.
Oh, quick ones, yeah.
Yeah, they were very fast.
Yeah,
and I did that. And like, I think it was like one of the 10th videos, maybe like 10 days in, I had a video get like 300,000 views. And I was like, oh shit. I've never done that on YouTube.
300,000 eyes.
Yeah.
That are
I was
seeing
like, and then I got like 5,000 followers. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, this is faster. Like, before I knew it, I had like 40 or 50,000 followers. So it's like, this is like, I just doubled my YouTube following that I worked for 2 years on. And like with a lot less effort. And I was like, all right. So then I'm like, all right, this is a thing. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep doing this. I got to get to 100K because I knew from like YouTube and like Instagram, like when you have 100,000 followers, people treat you differently. And it's a good leverage point. So like, I'm just going to keep going. And then I turned to my friends, and then I went, you met my friend, Chris Barnard. He runs Overtime Athletics. I was like, dude, I know you ain't got time for TikTok. Fuck, we're not even doing shit right now. Your gym's closed. Like, let's meet up once a week. Let's film videos. None of us really gave a shit about COVID. So we were like, fuck it, let's do this. So we started filming videos, and then his started growing. We took his to like, I think it was like 60 days. He had 100K. He's since gone on. He's over like almost 300,000 now. And then Elliot was the same thing. I said, Elliot, let me do this for you. And all I said was like, I'll do this for free. I just want like if you want to give me a percentage of sales that come through TikTok at some point, I understand it's not going to make money yet. And they both said yes. So now I had my stuff, Elliot's and Chris's, all of which was like, mine was, still at like 50, 60K. Chris is well over 100K. And Elliot, we had because he's so controversial, we ended up getting like 3 or 4 accounts to 100K because he kept getting.
I remember seeing his early videos of him just basically, if I remember this correctly, tell me if I'm wrong, because I've always been into fitness too. I remember watching Elliot on YouTube basically just like punk the shit out of you in a video for being a little bitch.
Yep, he basically was like, you're a
little bitch. You're not lifting heavy enough weight. And I was like, this dude's intense.
And then he got really deep into politics. Like,
he was like before like Wes Watson was doing what he's doing now. That was like how Elliot
was he's always been been very bold and early.
Hyper masculine. Like, if you're not a strong man, like, what the fuck are you doing,
So like, what he would preach, he got into like the anti-feminist stuff, which is fine. It was when TikTok started, like they were pushing those videos hard.
Yeah, the controversy. People were at home. It makes sense.
So we grew him fast, and then he would get banned. Then we grow another account. Like, happened multiple times. But point being is, I have like 5 or 6 different accounts that I've taken over, well over 100,000 in less than like 3 months. And I was like, so now I had like leverage. Now and then there was still not much interest for TikTok. I was still very early, but thankfully, like, I joined a Facebook group, TikTok Marketing Secrets. I become friends with the owner. His name is Michael Sanchez. The group was small at the time, so I reached out and we just kind of started chatting on the phone. That's like a strategy that I do. Like, I find people early on and like, this guy could be something. He obviously started a group around TikTok, and his advice about TikTok was really good. So, and because I was doing it, I knew it was good. So we just kind of became friends. And then I guess Grant Cardone's team reached out to him and was like, hey, we want somebody to repurpose Grant's YouTube videos into TikToks. Who do you recommend? And he was like, there's only one person.
My boy Ryan.
And it was me, and then it was Adley Stump. Same situation. Adley made a post in his group. Hey, I go viral every week on Facebook. We're looking for someone to repurpose and we want to test out TikTok. Mike was like, I only know one person. And then Adley's was a little bit before Grant. And Adley was literally, she's still my friend. She's speaking at the Attention Summit. We grew her to 1 million followers on TikTok in about 6 months. Wow. And it's funny now because like all that the going rate for repurposing was like $700 a month back then. So like Adley paid like less than $5,000 for 1 million followers on TikTok. Yeah. But because I edited
repurposing what, her long form?
Yeah, she had 3-minute Facebook videos because the optimal length for her for Facebook was like 3 minutes.
And taking those videos, cropping them into 15-second TikToks. This episode of the Aitlan's podcast gets brought to you by Newtopia. Newtopia is an amazing nootropic solution for any entrepreneurs or high producers out there that are looking for a solution besides the traditional Adderall or Alpha Brain. Newtopia is a fully customizable box with 12 different compounds. I have personally been taking this for years. I have my entire team taking this as well. And it is an absolute game changer. There's some days you want to be social. There's some days you want to lock in and get focused data entry work. And Newtopia has a solution for you on any day. Use code Salazar to save 10% off. At a really hard point. I want to get into that today with you a little bit.
That was the gist. Then we landed Cardone. Then it was like, and then I had so many success stories and case studies. And then this time now I was like obviously pulling some really good numbers myself. So like I was starting to become well known, and we went 0 to 1 million the first year. And then now we're in year 2. I'm a little shy of 1 million this year because we did a lot of restructuring of more from an operational perspective. So I wasn't I wasn't crushing revenue this year. So we did, I think we're going to end the year with like 2 days at like 900,000 for this year. But if you factor in my coaching business, we did well over 1 million.
Props on that. Yeah. And when you think about it too, what you're doing, and this is something that a lot of people don't really focus on. Some people only focus on revenue and they don't focus on what else you're building. That's revenue.
Yes.
Like the name, the views, it's the breakthrough, right? Like oh, hey, what's the actual number? Cool, the number is one thing, but like, what do I have that's going to carry me for the next 3 or 4, 5 years now as a mega brand where my name gets brought up? And that's revenue. That's behind. It's revenue that's being slingshotted towards you.
Yeah, I think
it's pulled back and it's going to fly towards you. So people don't see it because they're short-sighted. But
there's a lot of, I think the internet, to be successful on the internet, you have to get really good. And I know Hermosi speaks about this. So I was like delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Like a lot of what you do today, you won't see money from today. You'll see it fucking 2 years from now.
Gary Vee's the king of that.
Yep.
He's the OG of that. And I remember his first. So real quick too, your story is incredibly similar to mine, honestly. If you substitute BMX with jiu-jitsu, very similar things. I was working with brands. I was getting sponsored. That's how I got into video production, was from the sponsor brands that I had. And I related a lot of what you said there. Even living that type of life and then having a daughter and be like, I'm not this guy anymore. I have a daughter, right? So that's cool to see. But it's like you have to be willing to wait until you get the payoff later. And that's what the sports probably teach you. That's what people get from that. So Gary Vee's book called Crushing It. Remember that book?
I read Crush. I never read Crush. Is it
Crushing It?
Yeah, I read that book. Yeah.
And I remember reading that one time and I was like, exactly. Like he was just basically saying, he explained in the book in a long form, like, hey, you can build a YouTube channel around Pomeranians and then you can make a website and sell Pomeranian shirts and bracelets and for hyper fans, and you can still make these kind of numbers doing it. Like you just have to get the content out. And so people, as you know, right, everyone has things they could make content about, but like there's this thing that stops people, which is just doing it.
Yep.
They might do it today and they skip Sunday. They might do it Monday, they skip, and before you know, they're skipping 5 days and doing it 2, and then it's down skipping 6, doing it 1. What is that? Why do they do that?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I had that too. I feel like we all have it. I think it's just that it's because if it's not a payoff today, it's hard to motivate.
Is it worth it? I'm tired.
I mean, like, because I'm doing it right now, even with like, I have my short form very, very set up. Like I have a big team. Like it's very easy for me to produce short form now. But what's really hard for me is to produce long form. So I'm vlogging now, and I'm like, I'm committing, like I have to do 52 this year, 1 a week. And then I've already done I'll be on my 5th one going into the new year, but it's like, I haven't put it out yet this week. And I'm like, if I do not get it put out by Sunday at midnight, it goes into a new week. And now I'm done. So like, I have that in the back of my head
make
right
sure you
now.
get done tomorrow.
Like, I'm like, I have to finish this by tomorrow.
100%.
Like, so I think that, and I don't, I didn't always have that mindset. That's why I said I like forced constraints. Like even when I started the TikTok, I said I don't care what it, because we fall victim to perfectionism, and we fall victim to like judgment of ourselves. And then once you put a video out, it's also a judgment of others. So it's like you do that, and I'm like, ugh. So I'm like, I just have to like put these parameters around things. I'm only going to use this camera. I'm only going to do it for this time. I'm only going to do this. And then if it's not perfect, I don't care. I'm just going to put it out.
Yeah.
And then over time, I make it better.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I mean, even to the point, like I have my camera, the camera is set up to be so fucking easy for me to pick up and use.
Yep. That's the Casey Neistat style, that was one of my original,
I love
influences. I have the tattoo still, Work Harder, on my wrist from him doing it.
I love Casey.
I watched so much. I did a vlog too on YouTube, and that was something I did 74 episodes of Tony Salazar vlog. And what I will say that did for me, and I do talk with this a lot, what it did for me was it gave me an opportunity. I was the client this time. So every day, I did one a day every day. So the way I did it, I was filming the vlog all day. I would edit that night, and I would post it that night before I went to bed. It was every day. And were they great? No. Some got a couple, like 2.3 thousand views. That was but what it did give me, within a short time frame, I had done 74 videos. Yeah. I got fast at editing. I got really quick understanding what I was doing. I'm like, I'm the client. So if it's not perfect, fuck it. It's me. I don't care what it looks like. I posted it. And it really helped me a ton, because then when I started getting commercial work, I was faster and better editing, better at shooting, because I was always with the camera. And I was also always seen with the camera in my hometown of Lakeland, where I grew up. So people knew me as the guy with the camera. So I was getting brought in for tons of opportunities. Yeah. And Casey Neistat says something which you kind of just touched on, which I always tell our clients all the time, and it is one of the best advices on this whole world that I've ever heard for video, and is that 80% out the door will always beat 100% in the drawer.
Yeah, I share that with my team now, because I have a team of 14 now. And I just say, look, I want our 80% to be everybody else's 100.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I said, I don't expect perfection. That's just stupid. I said, I do have very high standards, but like, we need to get so good that when we're having an off day, that's better than somebody's on day.
Yeah.
Like, and that comes from like, even like, I mean, I'm a big fan of lifting weights, and like I do CrossFit now. It's like, you don't see an immediate payoff. Yeah. It takes months to get a PR. Like, it's like, but the discipline and like the structure in that process makes you so much better. And it's like, if people like, that's why like, even when I started taking, I was like, one a day.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Like,
so we'll check out the vlog for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Hope we're going to make it in the vlog today.
You will.
We got the camera here, so we're in one of Ryan McGinn's vlogs.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like, you said it, like, it is uncomfortable to film everyday things. Like me, like I had to take out my camera, and as I'm walking up, just say, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I'm going to hang out with. This is what it's going to be. And like, even training myself, somebody who makes thousands of videos, like, to do that, it's like, it's vulnerable. You're like,
do people actually care?
Yeah. And to be truthfully, no, not yet.
They will.
But they will.
No, they will. They care.
Yeah.
And it will, especially too, think about this, like Gary Vee, right? His old school wine review content has high view count now. Why? Because he went on to become Gary Vee, and now that original content is like, look at how much it used to suck, but people still go back and rewatch it, right? So it always gets seen. It's always out there.
It's definitely a, like, and I'm just a believer, like, now it's like, I say nobody watch it now, but like, because I've grown on all the other platforms, like,
they will watch it.
They will watch it because there's like, and I believe in like, it's a weak link for me. Yeah. Like when you get to like a size, like I have almost 300,000 on TikTok. I have over 100,000 on Instagram. I have almost 100,000 on Facebook. I have all this, like these numbers, and I'm like, and then I look at my YouTube and I'm like, it's lacking. It's like, it's weak.
Yeah. That's
good. And it's like, and now that's like, to me, I'm like, okay, that's like, same thing at CrossFit. I'm weak on Olympic lifts, so I have a coach who helps me with Olympic lifts. I'm like, so I bought YouTube courses. I'm like, I got to figure this out. I got to practice.
Sean McCannell, whose courses?
Sean McCannell, I haven't done his. I did. I bought Casey Neistat because I'm a big fan of Neistat, the film thing. I bought Hayden Hillier Smith. He was like Logan Paul's editor. I brought his. Like, I get coaching. I'm a guy also. I buy phone calls. I like just talking to people. So like, if I wanted to learn from Tony, I'd be like, hey Tony, how much for an hour? Yeah. Some of them say
some coffee at the blend, baby. Let's do it.
Like some people are like, some are like, they've never been asked that, which is like, it's like a hack, like networking. Like some people have like, I mean, I do that. People pay me $1,000 and I'm like, I say it's an hour, but I don't think I've ever been an hour. It's always like an hour and a half. I'm like, I just like talking to people that are motivated.
Yeah. Hype them up. I love that.
But yeah, that was like, so that's what I did, hey, or I just throw a number out. Hey, can I get an hour phone call? I have some very specific questions I want to ask you. Can I do it? Would you do it for $500? Let me know and I'll PayPal it to you right now.
And they're like, wow, okay. And a lot of times they'll just do it, right?
And they'll just do it. They're like, yeah, like, because it's more like, and
they might not know their value is worth that. Like, I feel we're charging you $500. Let's just do it. What do you need? How can I help you?
I mean, and then I think that works twofold, because if you have somebody that's big enough that, one, if they're big, they value their time. So that the fact that you're putting a value to their time, even if you undershoot it, they respect it. Yeah. You know, and then from the other end of the perspective, it's like people are probably, they're gonna be like, wait, you want to pay me? Oh, fuck yeah. Like, so it's a win-win for both sides.
A lot now. I feel good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but that's a hack for me.
Give you some of those numbers too that I got from the day. I want to pull the notes up now because these are some impressive numbers. So right now, over total view count, right? Is there 130 million? Is that TikTok?
Yeah, TikTok has, I think I'm at like 136 million.
Views, which is insane to fathom when you think about that, right?
Yeah, I'm happy about it. I think it's 11.3 million likes on my video, and that
250 million total views across platforms.
Yeah, for this year, yeah, I believe so.
That's wild.
I wish I'm at 11.5 million likes, which means 11.5 million people have touched their phone on my videos. And
something that I love, and I see, you'll see this video style a lot, which I love that people are doing this more often, is they'll be like, hey, this is a room with 200 people in it. This is a stadium with 20,000 people in it, right? And they're just showing you perspective. Yep. Be like, so next time you think that your video didn't get enough views or engagement, this is what that many people look like in one place. You're like, yeah, good point. 800 people is still a lot of people. Like, if you're standing in front of them, you would feel so famous talking to a group of 800 people.
Oh, yeah.
But if someone gets 800, he's like, oh, dude, I suck. It's like, what are these numbers quantified as anymore? When you see people that, oh, your reels don't get over 1,000 views, like, bro, 1,000 people is a lot of people either way. So that's still something. You're reaching people. You know,
it's tough because, like, I mean, we live in obviously everything. Views are glorified. Like it's a number. It's like a digital number that's very hard to fathom. Like you say, like when you attach 1,000 to people, it's like, oh shit, that's a lot of people.
A lot of people.
But like even me, like, I mean, I've also got a weirder perspective now because working with, like, obviously getting a huge amount of views myself and working with a lot of these huge clients, like, I realize that, like, people do not understand, like, to me, 150 million, I'm still nobody. Like,
who's got some of the highest views? Like The Rock, Kardashian?
I mean, I'm sure. Like, I mean, I see the back ends. Like, I mean, I could talk about, like, on Cardone's account, like, the last 30 days, he's gotten 1 million views a day.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
But
that's not near The Rock or the Kardashians.
And that's what I was gonna say. And here's the difference. Unless I'm off, maybe I don't know. I don't understand the world like that, the world of content. So you tell me, is Grant not investing heavily of his own money to get seen? And I read his book 10X. I read, Sell or Be Sold. So I love his books, but. And I love everything Grant Cardone. His book 10X is absolutely responsible for how I've lived my last year.
Did you get the booklet? I got the booklet.
I got the book, and I listen to the audiobook when I'm on the walks. And I'm implementing it now. That's why I'm doing a podcast and a cooking show tomorrow, and I'm taking a speaking engagement in Tampa. I'm always doing stuff.
You got to be busy.
Overcommit, be omnipresent. But the point is, he admits, like, hey, I see it as highly valuable to pay to be known and be seen.
Oh, absolutely.
Where I don't think The Rock is even doing that. He's just, because he's him, he's already getting seen and getting viewed.
Well, I think it's different because there's, like, levels. Like, I would say, like, I mean, people ask me, like, obviously, like, it's almost 2024, so be like, what are the goals for next year? Like, I've kind of hit, like, an upper echelon of, like, what I would consider the top tier business influencer, which is like the Cardone, like the Chris Crone, like the Peters, like
Chris Crone's awesome.
Like, they're at the top echelon of, like, business influencers, and that's like, and I would say, like, Hormozy's like your peak of that right now, and Hormozy and Cardone, like, you're here. So it's like the next level above them is like what I consider your mainstream influencers, which is like the Nelk boys,
Logan
like
Paul,
Bradley Martin, Logan Paul, Jake Paul. So like that's the next level upon there. And like I don't see their analytics. Like, I can make some very estimated calculations of what, but I mean, somebody like to achieve a success of like a Logan or Jake Paul, you are getting 5 to 10 million views a day. Like, to where you can't walk down the street. Like, I can still walk. I can go weeks without somebody knowing who the fuck I am. Like, that's it. Well, to me, I'm like, I'm not famous enough yet. I got to keep going. Like, more views. How
often does it happen now, though?
About once a week.
Spotted.
About once a week.
Yeah.
Like, but when I'm going viral, like if I actively have a video going viral and I go to a place where there's a condensed group of people, like tomorrow night me and my fiance are going out with some friends for New Year's. I'm going to be in a room with probably 300 or 400 people. I will get recognized.
Yeah.
Like, I know that condensed group of people. Like, but like on the regular, like maybe once a week, and I average, and that, like my TikTok average is around 1 million views a week on like.
Yeah, so it's still, you're saying like where you live. Look, we live in a big city. We're in St. Pete. We're in the middle of downtown. There's people everywhere right now on Saturday.
But like, you still like.
you still don't feel
still
like
small.
you're the Rock. Right. Agreed.
You know, like
Something I saw Hermosi say in a video yesterday, which I thought was interesting, is he said when they have a date night, him and Layla have a date night, he doesn't wear his hat and he dresses up. And that's the only difference. Like, usually I'm in this. Y'all know me. This is my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, but her deal is it's for date night. I don't dress like that. And interesting enough, I almost never get noticed when I don't have a hat on and I'm in nice clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, because he's got, and I thought about that recently because a hat alone can make you look like a different person, right?
Yeah, I always have a white hat on. Like
you wear a hat in your videos sometimes you don't, right? So you might look different from time to time. And it's so interesting where like people can almost have to, when you think about it, right? If you want to grow, you want to have influence, you want to make the money, all those things, but at the same time, do you want to live the life of these paparazzi people that can't pull up somewhere and get out of their vehicle because they're flat? No one wants that.
I mean, everybody wants the social media fame. And I mean, I guess I've experienced a little bit of it, especially like I have in the back of my mind, like I can't look like shit if I walk out the house.
You got to look nice.
Somebody might see me.
That's a good rule though, in general.
I mean, I don't like, I mean, I'm a big fashion guy as a whole. So like, I care about my appearance. It's always been a thing. But like, even in like, I mean, I take things to the extreme. Even like if I'm walking my dog in the morning, I'm like, what am I wearing? Like, you know, like, or it's like, you know, like,
I'm only laughing because I'm like, I should probably list this more because let me tell you some real talk, guys. Once in a while, I will leave the house in long, baggy pajama shorts and a tank top and go get late night snacks. And I go to the gas station in sandals. And sometimes I'm like, I think to myself as I'm pulling up, I'm like, if I get spotted right now or someone's like, oh, dude, I know, I'm going to be embarrassed. Like how I leave the house. I'm like, I need to stop doing this, but I still do it. I still do it.
I'm with you, man. Sometimes it's like
late night snack runs. I'm like, I'm going.
I'm weird. Like I just buy all the same shit now. So it's like all my workout shorts are black 5-inch Nike workout shorts. And so it's like, I sleep in a pair. I wear them to the gym. Like it's like, I've just made it easy for myself to not look like shit.
That's good.
But yeah, like, I mean, but it's also too like, I don't think people just don't realize like, and this probably stops people internally. Like when, like to get 7.3 million views, like that means that I pissed off 7 million people, like to a degree. Like there is, and
because
like
what you think opposite forces?
Like, the only way, and this is what I think I understand about going viral.
Let's get into it now. Let's get into the secret.
Get millions of views, you have to piss off 1 million people, like because the other million is gonna love you.
Oh my God, I agree.
Like there is no, like the internet is so polarized and it's going to get worse. Like, we're rolling into 2024 election season. It's going to get worse. Like I can tell you that people are going to be more and more pissed off, more judgmental.
Trump's officially off, right? Trump's officially off the ballot for Colorado, so you can't run.
So they're already mad. Like everybody's mad. Like I would urge people to not talk about politics in video content because it's just not worth the risk.
Well, and not worth it getting shadow banned and canceled out.
Like because shadow banning is real. Only for people that are Republican. That's all I'm saying.
Wow.
That's all I'm saying.
There goes our podcast. We're canceled on YouTube right now.
But no, I mean, like even the internet is ripe right now for people with strong opinions. And if your strong opinion educates at the same time.
Thank you, Ryan.
Like,
thank you. So this is like I want to ask some direct questions now because we're talking about long form and short form. So now for the viewers that are watching, this is a perfect example of as you guys are creating content, we're going to move into some short form content where it's clippable. So we can ask a question where it's shorter, where the editing team can actually shorten these down and make some short form reels. So what do you think is required to go viral right now? What is it? Is it the polarity? Is it a shock factor? Is it the hook? Is it an audio hook or a visual hook? What is it?
Well, I mean, the most important thing in a video is the hook, the first 3 seconds. Like if you don't stop them, they're not watching. But I think now we're seeing so many people that it's like they have a great hook and then they suck. Like, so
yes,
there is another emphasis, and this is like the tactical. It's like you have your, like we call it like hook 1, just get somebody to stop scrolling. That's usually 1 to 2 seconds, maybe 3 if you have something very polarizing to say. 1 to 3 seconds. Then you have that next statement, which is usually seconds 2 to 5 to 6 seconds. That is more important, if not equally as important as the hook, because now you're stopping the scroll and now they're watching. And then it's like, after that, you have a little bit of freedom because now you've gotten them like 6, 7, 8 seconds. So it's like, okay, they're kind of invested now. They, and that's where like you actually have to have something either controversial, very educational, a good story. Like it goes into that. But as a whole, as like an editor, when you're looking at a video, it's like every 2 to 3 seconds, it's like there needs to be another hook to keep people watching. It needs to keep the pace of the video. And I think that's where like specifically video editors fuck that up all the time because they don't understand that. But I've learned it's like, okay, how like there's a lot more shitty video editors than good video editors, and I, no disrespect to video editors, I employ a lot of them. Like I love video editors, I am a video editor, but I want to speak in a way that you don't have to edit me. Like, and that is the skill set I think that people need to develop.
Well, yeah, you're talking about the most important part, right? It was like, just say it well.
Yeah, if you say it well and you learn tonality and conviction.
Oh, dude, you're bringing up something that's so deep that I talk about a lot, right? Be a person with actual charisma. So what social media has been able to do, and I think about this a lot, right? Because you'll see someone on video, and then you go to a big event like RiseCon in Tampa, which I'm going to be at again this in April, and you'll meet people in person, right? You meet these people in person, and you'll go, you're flat. Like, you don't have any charisma in person. Like, there's no personality to you. So you're like, wait, all that video stuff was just editing and hype and this and that. And so I think that's where social media has given people the opportunity to fake charisma. Where you think about what has charisma always been? Charisma, like a charismatic person are the ones that can rally up the troops and get them to go vote for them. Like throughout history, people have been that way for years, for thousands of years, essentially on their own. But now people like want to be seen like that. So trying to fabricate it through social media. And that's where video hooks came from. And they bring energy and out. They can like, you can like fake and force tonality, but Grant Cardone, you see him speak, that man brings charisma into a room because that's who he is. Like he brings that, and that's the difference. So it's like his content will actually better serve his actual personality. It just pre-introduces him, and then when you meet him, like, this is exactly what I thought you were going to be. Right?
Yeah, it's more like I think there is a level of character that has to come. I mean, like even when we started this podcast, all of a sudden I'm talking a little louder. I'm talking a little more like I speak very fast and punchy. That's like TikTok's trained me to do
I like
that.
to use, what it's called though, fast and punchy.
Yeah, it's like because that's TikTok. I speak TikTok because I'm a TikToker. Like that's like
beep bop beep bop beep.
So I'm talking to your short attention span.
Yeah,
yeah. But I think that there's a level of character that has to come in, and I'm not saying that like I don't believe in faking it. Like everybody has their qualities of them as a person, and it's like you have to look at your qualities. What am I good at? What am I weak at? Like, what is strong? What is weak? And it's like, for me, the strong was like, I can talk fast and I can talk with 100% conviction. That's a strength of mine. Like,
shake and bake.
Even if I'm wrong, I'm going to say with so much conviction, you're going to question whether or not I'm wrong or not. So it's like, I amplify that, like when I talk, and then it's like, I have a gift. Like I'm very friendly. Like I'm easily approachable. So like I lean into that. Like, so it's like, I'm crafting the video persona of Ryan Magin into, okay, I speak fast, short and punchy, but I also keep authentic and relatable. And I do that because like, I share things that like, wait, he's really talking about that. He's broke down how much money he made. He just did this.
Yeah.
He just asked somebody that question. So it's like, I think people need to objectively look at themselves and go, what am I good at? What am I bad at? And it's like, I'm going to work on the bad, but I'm going to amplify the good.
Exactly. So that's kind of brings into the next point, which perfectly woven in, which is that I think, and I give this advice to clients when making content, is that we do come across a lot of videos, and it's videos, sometimes people that I know, and sometimes a video that I see, and you can just feel it on them. Like, that's not authentic. You're trying to be cool. You're trying to act away in a video. Can't the audience feel that too?
Oh, absolutely.
They know, right? They're voting with their likes and like, bitch,
yeah,
that's fake. You can feel it.
Like, and it's also too, it's like you have to sustain. So like you can be fake for one video. You might be fake for 10 videos, but eventually that fakeness is going to wear off and you're going to run out of shit to say. So you got to be real. Yeah. Like, and that's why like I have a love hate for podcasts, like, because like podcasts are they're the easiest to get content. Like you talk to somebody for an hour, you're probably
that's where short form content came from.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. For the most part. Yeah. It's like we were clipping
Joe
YouTube
Rogan
videos.
clips. Yeah.
Yep. So it's like you take that, but you have somebody like a Rogan. It's like you're basing yourself off of Rogan. Like, Rogan knows exactly what questions to ask. Like he is good. He's trained.
Yeah. He's one of the best interviewers ever, I think, actually.
Yeah, like Ryan and Tony might not know what the best thing to say is, but we're trying. We're doing podcasts, which is good. I don't want to stop people from making content, but it's like there's an effort level involved. Like just because you do an hour podcast, and I've seen it, we worked with tons of clients. Like, doesn't mean you got shit in there that's going to do good on short.
Yeah. Right.
Just because you recorded an hour doesn't mean there's shit in there that's going to go viral.
And people feel entitled to it, right? I did the podcast. I talked about, your life's not interesting. Maybe people didn't care about it. Maybe what you said, right? That's something we were good.
And that's where like we started filming with the clients directly for the platforms, because it's like I could look at, let's take you. Tony. Like you had we do a great podcast here, but I'm like, shit, man. Like Tony, you asked this question, but if you would have asked this follow-up question when I said this, I would have given you a better response and it would have been a better video. We can take this video, we can clip it. It might do okay.
But it'd be better if we shot it like that.
But it might be 1 million views if we get this. Or if I just say, hey, say what you said again, but say it a little more angry. Like, then it might be better. And that's when I started looking at podcasts going, oh, fuck. Like, even Rogan, like, I love Rogan. I'm like, oh, if you would have said that a little more, like, curious or, like, a little more fact, like, I think that video would have done better.
Yeah.
Like, and that's kind of like my brain thinks like that now. And that's where we started, like, with all of our clients, like, you know, for, like, 98% of them, we fly to them once a quarter. Like, and we film hundreds of videos, you know, for that specific reason. We don't, and we direct. Like, I'm like, yo, I need you to say this with passion. Like, do you really give a shit about this? If so, if not, why are we making a video about this?
Yeah, so the directing, right? Because that's what we do. Interesting enough, you made a video that I agree with 100%, and it was something that I hadn't really given too much thought to until you heard. I'm like, yeah, exactly. So we have a team. We have videographers who work in our company. We have people. However, I always go to our sessions with our clients. So we're filming batch content for our clients. A lot of them are real estate agents. I always go. Yeah. And for a while, I'm like, why? I'm like, I have to be there to pull out the best of them because I understand content. And I think it's something like, just because someone knows how to run a camera and shoot cinematic commercials, they might not look at a client that's a 40-year-old luxury real estate agent and go, you can say that better. Let's word it like this. Let's try that again. So like when I watched a video you made about that and I was like, he gets it. He gets it. Like you have to, the directing is the most important, most valuable role of that. It's not about the cinematography. It's like,
No.
didn't like how that came out. Let's try that again.
Yeah, and it's a matter of like, I mean, we call them like, I mean, I like to put terms on stuff to make it like we call them viral directing. So it's like, and this is not shade on like videographers because like I think there's a real talent involved with like shooting good stuff and knowing what to shoot and what angle to be at. Like that is a skill set in itself. But we're in an age now where that's not as important as it once was. And what's important is if you're standing in front of somebody, you need to extract something good from them. Yeah. And the average videographer doesn't know how to do that.
Right. Well, like, there's a whole reason for that.
Yeah. And then that's why like, we see this, there's like a gap now. There's like this, and it sucks because it's like, you know, let's say that you have Johnny, the real estate guy. He's like, yo, I need content. Like, I'm going to hire a videographer. A videographer's like, yeah, dude, I got you, man. You know, I charge $150 an hour. He's like, cool, I want to book you for 3 hours. We're going to go to these properties. So real estate, Johnny's like fucking pumped. He's like, yeah, I'm going to finally get some content. I'm going to start building my brand. Videographer's like, yeah, man, I'm going to make this guy look good. There's gap one.
Yeah.
Like, then they show up and meet each other, and real estate Johnny's like, all right, what are we filming? The guy's like,
what do you want to film?
Like, what do you want to film? And then it's like, and that's the problem.
I hired you for that. You tell me, what do I do? Oh, yeah.
Real estate Johnny thinks he's hiring a content creator, director, videographer type of person. And the reality is those don't exist yet. Or they do, they're few and far between.
Yeah, I agree.
And what made, now a videographer guy, you know, was actively creating content for himself. Like actively posting videos for himself, getting feedback from the comments, getting feedback from like, oh, that was a bad video. Oh, that didn't represent me well. Oh, that one did fucking awesome. Like, let's study that. Oh, look at the watch time here. If I say this, now that videographer shows up, you think the situation is going to be far more better for real estate Johnny.
No, I agree 100%.
You know, and it comes down to like there is a gap between being a creator and then filming creators. You know, and I don't want to say that there's not, because you have somebody like a D-Rock, like that you know, D-Rock kind of
Gary V's guy, right?
Gary V's guy. You know,
I met him one time.
You know, but D-Rock doesn't really have a huge following himself. He has a little bit because of just being associated with Gary. You know, so there are people that can do it without following themselves, and I don't want to like insinuate.
I know what you're saying there, right? I talk about this all the time, and I've actually made ads that I've run to realtors saying this, and I'll be like, guys, where you guys go wrong is you hire a videographer who spent their entire career hiding behind the camera. They have no idea what it's like to be in your seat, in front of the camera, verbalizing points and talking. So when they get to that shoot day, they're going to press record and they're going to say, go, say something impressive. I'm like, do you want that to happen?
Yeah.
No. I'm like, that's how I word it in the video, but it's the truth. Like, that's exactly what you're saying. Like, they don't know about the speaking. So videographers, for the most part, hide behind the camera. They're not in front. And so it's a whole nother world. As I've gotten out from behind the camera and more into, I only focus on being in front of the camera now. 'Cause I'm like, this is a whole skill set in itself. You have to hold conversations, keep tonality, polish your image. There's a lot of things you have to do to be in front of the camera, where it's a lot less than, all right, is my settings dialed in? Is this gimbal battery charged? What's the drone flight path going to be like today? It's different worlds.
And I mean, there's a place for both, but I think the expectations are what's fucked up now on the internet. Is just because everybody's like content, and videographers are like, I help content creators, get views, and it's like, well, no, you don't. You're just holding the camera.
Right. So you're like, valid, actually. You don't like when a videographer is claiming to be something they're not.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, I generally don't like the internet as a whole has a bunch of people claiming they're something that they're not. But like, especially like, I just see it as a gap with video editors, like, and as someone who kind of created the entire short form industry, with the subtitles that are popular, there was a lot of people that couldn't have work during COVID that all of a sudden became subtitlers. But subtitles are called video editors now. Like, and it's like, no, you can put big bold subtitles on videos, but you don't know
how to edit
a video because editing a video the hook might be 5 minutes into the video, and you need to take that piece and put it to the front and then figure out how to make this video work. That's a fucking video editor.
I agree with you. Well, I mean, we're a commercial production agency, so we work with clients that'll pay us $20,000 or $30,000 to create a website video for their medical device. That editing sometimes can be 17 to 25 hours for a 1.5 minute video, because we're doing graphics, motion graphics, high level B-roll, going back and forth. That's deep video editing, like video editing using multiple softwares. There's a difference in that person and then someone that uses CapCut real quick to cut or use like a template. So yeah, I'm with you and be like, I'm a video editor.
Yeah. And I mean, well, first off, if you're going to hire a video editor and they're doing it from their phone, I'm just going to say, probably not the best use of your money. They should keep working because they if you want, and if you're a video editor that's getting business like by using CapCut on your phone and shit like that, that's great. I love the hustle. But you're very slow. Like, you need a laptop. You need a good high power laptop. That's a fucking whole nother thing. Like I have 9 full-time.
You on MacBooks?
I'm a big Mac. All my editors have Macs.
Same.
I mean, even I have no problem with high power PCs. I just prefer the Mac.
Yeah, I do too. The airdropping is the main reason. I can never leave. I'm the same Apple everything, but I could never leave Apple simply because if you are not on Apple computers and you're a content creator, you're missing AirDrop. So you have to upload to Google Drive, then download to your phone, and that 3 seconds puts you behind.
Yeah, AirDrop's always been the shit.
So let's get into this now because I want to get some good what editing software is it? CapCut Mobile?
I mean, well, from the
Final
phone,
Cut. What do you guys use?
My whole team uses Premiere I have one DaVinci Resolve guy.
Okay.
I don't care which they use.
Me either.
Like, I tell people when we hire, like when we're hiring editors, like, look, I don't care what most of our trainings are built around Premiere Pro, but the principles are the same.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, and you just have to adopt these. If you want to work for me, you have to adopt or switch to Premiere. And I don't ever tell people like you have to switch, because it's like I understand there's a learning curve there, and I'm like,
DaVinci's getting really popular lately.
because it's cheap.
I was on Final Cut when I started. Then I went to Premiere for a while. Then I went back to Final Cut, and I don't think I'll leave. But this is my personal content.
I don't know how to use any of those. And
what do you use?
I use an old software called ScreenFlow, which is actually a screen recording software.
Yeah,
it has a really simple, intuitive editing platform.
How do you add captions?
Manually, word by word.
No, but what are you? What you buy? You get the fonts, you import them in, then you just bubble them. Okay,
that's how I started. Like that's how we started. When we created the subtitles, it was Savannah, who's been with, she's always used Premiere, so she's used Premiere. Myself and Luis, we just word by worded them through. This is before AI. Like, we've been manually subtitling before AI. Now the people have it fucking easy. Like, but I still don't like. I don't like the AI stuff.
I'm with you. That's what I mean. There's a big gap now where we see it a lot. So we. One of the things we did a year and a half ago is we created an online course for real estate agents to learn to make their own content, and the agents that would go through the course would learn to film themselves with their phone. They get through the presenting on camera, the speaking, the part's cool, but then they would end up outsourcing the videos to some very, very, very cheap editors. And so they'd post them. Exactly. And the bubble text, too loud, pop, pop, boing, boing, swoosh, swoosh, whoosh, swoop, swoop. These noises
Sorry,
on the
we
screen.
did that.
yeah. But like we see it now, and it's like, hey, like that's taking everything away from what you're saying
The
now.
speaker should be the thing that is highlighted, not the whoosh sound.
Yes, and it's like it reminds me like of a child's toy with those bouncy, colorful balls. It's like
what I don't understand is
shaking that in your face.
Why don't these fucking dumb video editors know that you can adjust the volume of the sound effect? You can turn it to 20%.
Yeah, I don't know. You heard it from him, guys. Video editors, bring your sound effects down. We've actually had
only
that
use them if necessary now. They're way overdone. Like I don't use them on mine. Every once in a while we do. But again, like we started with really loud sound effects. Like I made those mistakes too, but we realized really quickly. I don't know why, but I feel like there's a large group of video editors that don't edit in headphones. Like I buy all my editors headphones and I say, I will know if you're not using them. I said, because every once in a while you're going to get the one-sided volume. Like there's only volume in one ear.
Mono stereo.
Because that happens. It happens a lot.
Yep.
You're going to realize that you're fucking like that the audio pops are ridiculous. You're going to realize that, the sound effect needs to be at 10 to 20% volume level, not 100, because you're going to be like, "Pop!" It's like, oh.
Yeah, what was that? Whoosh.
Yeah. So it's like
better. Whoosh. That's what it sounds like in those things, guys.
Yeah. So like I encourage like and also you can't edit in Bluetooth headphones. You have to plug in your headphones because there's this thing called latency, which I don't understand why editors don't know. It's a thing. Like it's like people that speak, like don't speak with your fucking AirPods. Like there's a gap. We can see it. It fucking annoys the shit out of me.
Okay, I heard the gap there.
Like, it's not it's subtle. But it's like those little things.
Yeah, that's what polishes out your videos. That's why they're so good. I love it. So a question on the virality now, because this is something that I want to get into, is a lot of the people that we talked about here. We talked about Grant Cardone, Ryan Pineda, Brandon Carter, Elliot Hulse, Chris Crone, Jordan Peterson. These people already had established a name for themselves prior to shooting content that would go viral. So where's your thoughts on someone that's just like an average everyday person and they're like, I want to go viral? My thoughts are like, well, what's viral about you? But it can happen, right? So like, let's talk about that, because you're talking about people that have already accomplished something great. That like, okay, hey, they've accomplished something, so then they make a name. It's a little bit easier, in my opinion, for these people because hey, people know who you are already.
Well, and
you have things to talk about.
I agree and I disagree with that, because you're right. Like there is familiarity. But when we started with all these people, they were zero on TikTok.
Okay.
And TikTok was a completely new young audience. Like it was not the same as Instagram. Like, and I think that, and even myself, like people say that, like it's kind of like a badge of honor now. It's like, well, Ryan, you're big everywhere else. Of course it was easy for you. It's like, well, I started at zero. Like, so the thing that they have that the average person doesn't isn't their followers. It's they filmed hundreds, if not thousands of videos prior to getting on a platform. They know what it's like to film. And it's like, I keep coming back to that, but it's like, once you learn how to speak on camera and you can articulate yourself well, and you craft this persona per se,
yes,
you will succeed faster. And you don't figure that out until you get a couple hundred videos.
Yes.
Like, and that's so it's like new people. I'm like, same thing the way I started. I was like, do 100 videos as fast as you can. Get them out. I don't care if you do one a day and it takes you 100 days, or if it takes you 30 and you're doing 3 a day. Like you need to get 100 videos out of you as fast as fucking possible, because you're going to fuck up. You're going to suck.
Watch yourself back.
Yeah.
See what you want to change.
And I think you should edit yourself. I said, because the act of editing yourself is very, very humbling.
Yes.
You start realizing your inconsistencies. Like I say, or one thing, you start saying these words over and over again, and you start hating yourself, because if you cut the word like out 25 times in the same video, you're like, I'm going to fucking stop saying this.
Yeah. Good point.
So it's like you learn yourself as you edit yourself, and then you should outsource. Like you shouldn't, if you're planning to be somebody on camera, you should not be, editing yourself all the time, because you will run into a problem where you can't keep up. Like,
Sure.
and I mean, but then again, it's like you also need to know when it's time to go back in and fix your shit. Like I'm editing my vlogs. Like nobody else is doing that. Like I'm going to probably edit them all year. So I have 52 of them that I'm going to edit this year. By the end of the year, I'm going to be able to hire somebody to do it for me, because I know exactly what the fuck I want.
Yeah. Show them, hey, mimic this style. Right.
I mean, so I think that is the art, on a macro scale, Like, what makes a Grant Cardone be able to walk into any platform? It's not that he has millions on the platform. It's that he can start from zero, and he knows how to talk.
Yeah.
And then now yes,
sales comes in.
Yeah,
he's one of the best. When we talk about charisma, Grant Cardone brings more of it than almost anyone I've ever seen speak.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I mean, charisma, like sales, sales and pickup, like those two skill sets. Like, you'll find some of the most successful pickup artists and people that have, or even your friends, like that have no problem talking to women, are probably good at sales. Mm-hmm. Like, sales and pickup kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And if I'm sorry, like, shy and introverted is not a skill set you need to have right now if you want to get famous on the internet. Like, you need to get over that, or at least get through that, because I think that's just insecurities. Like,
well, yeah, that's another great question. So, what would you tell a client that wanted to hire your agency? We deal with it a lot, and you hear it a lot. They say, "I hate how I look on camera."
Well,
they don't love themselves. So now they're like, "Hey, I want to hire your services, but I also hate myself." So, what do you suggest?
I said, do you want to fix it before we start working together, or do you want to fix it as we go?
Heard.
Like, what do you hate about yourself? I'm like,
I'm 40 pounds overweight.
Okay, well, I can't fix that. But you could go to the gym.
Yeah.
You could eat better. Mm-hmm. So do you want to start in 90 days, or do you want to have like 200 videos put out in the next 90 days and be that much farther along?
Yeah, agreed.
Because I mean, there are insecurities.
There are, right? You deal with it. I do too. I mean, do you not deal with it with your clients?
I mean, I'm at a different level too. Like, I mean, I work with such big people.
They already know what they look like.
They know
they're already manicured.
Like, it's tough. Like, I have a hard time like relating to the smaller agencies, and this is not like, I was there, like, and I know like how bad it sucks. Like, when I walk in to work with somebody, like, it's already implied. Like, there's already, like, I mean, my criteria is like, a minimum of like 100,000 followers on YouTube. Like, you have to at least made hundreds of videos to a degree. You're not new to the skill set of making videos. Like, and I only say that because everybody that I've worked with, because I have worked with people that were brand new, it's never ended well. Mm-hmm. Like, it ends up making me look bad because I can't get them the results that they expect from me. And then I feel bad because I can't live up to my promises to them. And, the expectation for me is like, I'm not a video editing company. Like, I am a viral growth. Like, you're hiring me. The expectation is that you're going to get me millions of views. And I'm like, so I have to be very critical. I have to turn down a lot of money. Like, there's a lot of people that, and we charge $10,000 a month. So it's like, there's a lot of things that are like now in place. Like, for you to be able to charge $10,000 a month, like I have a reputation. So I'm not, so I'll have people that'll DM me like, Ryan, I'm working up to the point where I can even get to work with you. There's no expectation set. I didn't fucking say that, but they know who I work with. So it set that expectation for me.
Sure.
And then there's also the act of like, I have to be willing to say no to money, and I said no to a lot of money this year. Just because I'm like, this is not, this is going to end up looking bad on me because I don't know.
That's what I mean though. So why? So when that's what I was talking about. You get into the everyday average civilian, they might have some money because they have a successful business, but they may not have the persona or the charisma. Mm-hmm. So what is it that you would spot and say, yeah, it's not going to work for you?
Well, they've never made a video yet. Then that's number one. Like, that's a nightmare as a whole. And two, if they're hypercritical, like, so we don't allow the client to see a video before it's posted. Like, Grant Cardone has never watched a single video before it's gone out. And if you want to see the videos before, I will not work with you.
Okay.
It's too much of a problem. There's too much of a back and forth. And the main thing is there is the creator watches a video before it goes out. They're going to see something wrong with it. Like, because it's like them, it's their brand. Even I do it. I don't watch any of my videos except for my vlogs because I'm obviously editing them. I don't know what's being posted or when on my account. And that's good because I might, I look fat. That's a bad angle. Fuck it. I'm not posting that video. Mm-hmm. And then that video might get 1 million views.
Exactly.
And I can tell you from experience that I've had many videos where Luis kind of knows me now. I got to give Luis some love because he'll like console me and be like, oh, you're right, Ryan. We're not going to post that. You look bad. And then he'll post it because he has access to my account. And and then I'm like,
that's what a good homie will do though, right?
Like, motherfucker, what'd you do that for?
Yeah.
He said, bro, it's at like 400,000 views right now. I'm like,
oh, thank you, Louis. Yeah.
So I've also had to like, you learn not to judge yourself. And the reason I say that this is important, because if I was working with you, Tony, and you're like, yo, I want to see these videos before they go out. I'm like, oh, okay, Tony, sure. So I send you a drive link. Now, let's say that there is 10 things you want changed on these 10 videos. Now that has to go back to the team. Then it has to get changed. It has to get fixed. Now we're talking like at least a day, 48 to 72 hours, because a lot of my editors, different time zones, they're already doing their current workload for the day. They got to change it. So, but you just set me back 7 days of posting. Now, you, to work with me, you signed a contract. We're getting a minimum of 2 videos posted every day without fail. If I don't do that, I'm breaching my contract with you. So now, if you're the one that's causing me to not be able to post, who's at fault here?
Yeah.
I'm like, so I don't want you to get mad at me. Because I need to get the videos posted, because you're not going to like me unless I get those videos posted, because the videos are posted are going to drive the views, going to drive the sales. So it's like, so when a client's like, and there are instances like, I mean, we work with Merrick Health as a TRT company. They're one of my, I love Merrick Health. They're a clinic.
Yep.
So their videos, there is a revision process. Like it has to go through clinical,
because there has to be like medical.
It has to be medically factual.
Yes. We just dealt with a client like that.
Like,
we did
so there are instances, yes, and but I tell them up front. I said, okay, look, if these changes, this is going to pigeonhole us. It's going to slow the process down. So they now are aware of the problem that they're causing.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, well, let's do this. So we bulk send all the stuff, and they approve them, and then they get edited like that. But I mean, it took a few months to like, and we missed a few posts here and there, and like they understood. But I communicated that. But they're like an isolated. Not everybody's working with fucking scientists. Like,
sure.
you know,
you're working with the individual person that anything goes. And it's just their speak. So, I love that. I love knowing that. That's interesting to hear. And I'm sure a lot of people.
I know a lot of people are like, dude, how the fuck do you do it? Like this is why I say like, I think you have to be able to say no to money. And that is a hard thing especially when you're broke. And I did it a few times when I was broke. I'm like, I'm sorry, this isn't going to be a good fit. Like, and then the bad part is when you say that, they want to work with you more. Yeah. Like, so you really have to say no. But I mean, that was like one thing that I think I have. And then we post for all of our clients. Like, and I know a lot of creative agencies don't do that. And I have a joke, like I call like every video is like my pizza. Like I'm delivering a pizza. You know, it's like when you call up, like, and I'm not Domino's, like I'm like the craft pizza downtown, like, you know, I'm premium pizza. So like when you order like a $50 pizza, you know, you expect it to show up on time. You expect it to be not too hot, not too warm, just the right temperature. You expect it to be the same every time. Like, because if you like that pizza place, you want to get that same pizza. Like I want that large pepperoni every time. I want it to taste the same. So it's like, it's got to be consistent. And then you got to have whoever delivers it, they got to be friendly, right? Because you want it, because they know they're going to get a big tip, you know? So the video, they need to be, so like I call my, so that's how I explain it to my team. I said, guys, if there's spelling errors and shit, my pizza's not going to get delivered. Like if the poster doesn't post the video, the pizza's not getting delivered. If the video is posted and there's the wrong image, they got the wrong ingredients, it tastes like shit, they don't want to order it again. Like, so it's like, I think doing that, like,
I like that analogy. When you say image, you mean the image for B-roll that pops up?
Well, we've had, I mean,
let's hear it.
I've had so many dumb mistakes.
Let's hear it.
I love my team. I love my team. They're the best in the world at editing short form. But sometimes they don't think. I mean, for example, we were working with a client. We still work with a client, Modern Wisdom, and he was interviewing, you know, the podcast host, Andrew Schultz?
Yes. Massive
podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Flagrant.
Yeah, Flagrant Clips. So, like, Chris Williamson was interviewing Andrew Schultz. My team clipped a good clip. It was a great clip. Video gets edited. Video gets posted. It's starting to get views. Andrew Schultz sends a text to Chris Williamson. Modern Wisdom. Hey, whoever edited that video, they didn't put that's not my wife in the video.
Oh my God. Oh, dude.
So when Andrew Schultz says, I love my wife, like we have this.
It's a different wife. Good thing he's a comic and probably just laughed with it, but he's probably like, yo.
No, that video had to get, that video came down immediately.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, and that is honestly like, from a standpoint of like, that was a mistake that anybody could have made. Because we train our editors, like when they need to go to Google, they need to fact.
Andrew Schultz's wife. And
when you Google Andrew Schultz's wife, there's like, apparently there's like a picture of him. Apparently it was like some legal battles with some like fan or something. I don't know. It was a very sore subject for that. But literally the next picture was his actual wife.
Yeah.
And you can see multiple pictures of him with his actual wife, and there's only one with this one.
So it was an easy mistake to avoid, but
Yeah,
it was just a quick edit. Yeah.
It got it didn't cause like we didn't lose a client. Like it sucked. We fixed it. Like, but here's where I saw that. You think Andrew Schultz ever gonna work with me? Nope, we're fucked. Never gonna get that client. That's what I told the editor. I said, do you think that if that video was perfect and it went really well and that got a lot of views, do you think Andrew Schultz would be like, hey, who are you using for those videos?
Possibly, maybe not. Who knows?
I mean, but that's the way I think.
One thing Schultz did very well, which I think is super well played. You know who his first podcast guest was, right?
I don't actually.
His first ever. When he launched Flagrant, he had a guest on his podcast.
I don't know. Who was it?
Joe Rogan.
Oh, they're
and I was like,
friends.
yeah, that's what I mean. I'm like, what?
Well, it's like
what a
Modern Wisdom.
brilliant growth strategy was that? Like, hey, I'm launching my podcast, and it's one of the you don't see Rogan as a guest ever. So it's like not only are we getting one of the biggest podcasts, his biggest names, but also he's a guest on my show. And like, I don't know if you, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant how to have edited. If you go to watch the podcast on YouTube, there's that first 30-second, like a YouTube video hook where they show you what you're in store for. And it's just crazy chaos of editing, of Rogan dying laughing, of him making crazy bear noises, of Andrew Schultz laughing, and it just shows chaotic craziness, and then it's like cuts into the episode. You're like, what are we about to see in this episode?
That's funny.
And I watched the whole thing, so I'm like, I have to know what caused him to make those bear noises. Like, what was that, right? But I love that. I don't think that's going to put you out if I ever work with you.
No. I mean, these are mistakes, but these are just things that
I know with you.
happen. Like that I'm just like, and I mean, I'll share like one, like I made some mistakes too. Like when we started, we were still pretty small when we started working with Jordan and Michaela. And Jordan ended up getting bought like by Daily Wire. So it was like a 6-month thing where we worked with them. Okay. And I was paranoid about having anybody edit Jordan Peterson. Like
it's Jordan Peterson,
because of how
Lobster Daddy himself.
He's very high profile. He's very controversial. Like
very serious.
People do not like him. Like, so I was just like, I have to edit these. Like, so like, and I do my best editing at like 2:00 in the morning. So like, I'm staying up really late after working all day. I'm editing Jordan Peterson and I'm posting these videos to his account, and I post a video, which is a great video. Woke up in the morning, had like 3 million views. I'm like, fuck yeah. Awesome. That evening, I get an email. I'm actually, ironically, eating pizza with my family. And I get an email from Jordan. And it's from Jordan, like his team. Like, it was like, I don't even know who was on this. There was a lot of people in this email chain. And I'm like, and it's like, hey, Ryan, we really, first off, we have fired people for a lot less. There was a spelling error and there was some slang used in the video. And we would have already fired you, but the video got 3 million views. So if we cannot do this, and this ever again, we're still super happy.
What do you mean slang? He doesn't speak in slang.
No, but I because this is like a while ago. This is like, so like something like if Jordan said business, I put BIZNESS, like biz, or we would condense sentences so you could see them better on the subtitle.
I can see for him, he's like, no.
And a lot of it wasn't like, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like,
sure.
But like phonetically it was wrong. Like as far as like, but we were like, cause I looked at videos, not so much anymore. But back then it was like you had the audio that's playing and then you had like what you're reading. Like they had to tell the same story, but I wanted the messages to get condensed. So we were like, we would remove words and we would just like summarize the subtitles.
I see. He was like, no.
And to be fair, like I didn't know he didn't like that. He didn't know that we did that. But he did see that we got the views. So like in that situation, if that video did not get those views, we would have probably lost Jordan immediately.
Agreed. So that's a perfect time of like, you're like, hey, he is good at what he does. Let's just tweak these things a little bit, right?
So I mean, I gained a lot. Obviously, already had a ton of respect for him, and obviously, if you work under him, you're probably pretty awesome too. But I was like, whew. But since then, we've had a huge revision process go into place, and that actually made my company better while also creating a massive workload for the team.
To go through and hyper focus on the spelling.
But that was it. I mean, I'm not immune to making dumb mistakes like that or doing things. Because I'm like, I have to get Jordan views, and this is the best way I know how to do it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So that's amazing actually to hear like some of these names, and you guys are hearing this, like these are names I'm sure you guys know as the viewers. So Ryan has definitely been able to make a big name for himself in short form content. Mm-hmm. So for people right now that want to go out and like the man on the street style of video, right? Mm-hmm. Was that something you kind of pioneered too? Or,
no, I copied.
That was actually who Vitaly was one of the first guys doing that shit, right?
On TikTok, I mean, on YouTube, yeah, Vitaly. There's a lot of YouTubers that do the man on the street stuff.
So you do a lot of that here. I see Dan Henry going to the pier doing a lot too. And people are doing a lot, and they're just trying to create a controversial hook. It's becoming a little bit cheesy because you'll see someone
100%.
interviewing a drunk chick, and they're like, "Do you like guys over 6 foot?" Or it's like, but for what?
Yeah, it's
Some
gimmicky.
drunk girl in Ybor City, like for what, right? So that style of content, if people want to start making content themselves and they're local, and they all know the hook, so they make a really exciting hook, but then the rest of the video is trash. Like, what advice do you give these people right now?
Well, so I started doing the interview style man on the street. Like I went to Tyrone Mall. Which, if you guys are local, no, I like Tyrone Mall, but
That's where these jeans came from the Express right in there.
Greatest
Actually,
people don't necessarily shop at Tyrone Mall.
Right.
In hindsight, International might have been a better option that day. So I'm with Louise. I'm like, Louise, let's go to the mall. Let's see what we can get. Let's try this out. Let's go talk to the public. But I think you have to have an angle for the man on the street content. It can't just be like, unless you want to be gimmicky, like you're talking about, like, and that's all gimmicks. Like, why, how many guys have you had sex with? Or like, what do you think of OnlyFans?
Content's getting so played out.
Yeah, it's like, it's easy to copy.
Yeah.
Like, so when I said it, I was like, I wanted to keep it more because I consider I'm a business owner. Like, I like to have a little more higher end appeal. Like, I don't want to be considered a joke, So I was like, I'm going to keep it more business focused. And like, so the first idea we go to Tyrone Mall, I was like, Louise, we're kind of coming up with shit to ask people on the way there. I was like, what's a business idea you had but never took action on? Because everybody's had like something. They're like drunk. They're like, bro, I thought about this. It's like, oh, you thought of Uber? Oh, cool. Okay.
Redbox was my thing.
So
Yeah.
Well, so we walk around Tyrone Mall for like an hour, just asking people to like film videos. And like, I realized really quickly that nobody has any ideas.
So what if I started the business?
So then we switched to what's an interesting way that you've ever made money. And that was like, I got 3 really good videos that day, one of which got 1 million views. I think it was on YouTube Shorts. A girl got married in Cabo for $100. And it was a great story. Wow. So that was cool. And then I met 2 other girls. They both worked at Hooters, ironically, but they did OnlyFans on the side. And it was like, so it started with like, how much money do you make as a waitress at Hooters? And then it was like, well, what do you do for extra money? And like, I didn't want the focus to be OnlyFans because I don't really believe in that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to deter people from making money. Like, do what you got to do. I don't care. But we walked around for probably 4 hours to get 3 videos.
So just hitting the pavement,
yeah,
trying stuff.
And to me, I'm like, this was a horrible use of my time.
Okay, the question is, Ryan, before I forget to move, is when you create a reel like that, man in the street, you interview somebody, when the clip is done, and you're like, all right, cut, we got it. Do you know that you have something, or do you not know till you're in the editing room and you're like, this could be something?
I generally know, like, there's 2 times. If the person I'm going to talk to, I know what I'm going to ask them, I know if I have something.
Okay.
If it's a random, if it's more I'm just doing like just talking to people, like I try to find interesting people. Like I did one where the guy had 1 arm. I thought that's an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. I did another, like, and anytime I can look at somebody and go, what is the most interesting thing that I can visually see about you or that you're doing or that I know already about you? Mm-hmm. And then what is something that somebody, like, what's an obvious question that somebody's too afraid to ask?
Yeah, that's a good one. When you said that, that's your Instagram bio.
Yeah, I've turned that into kind of becoming my
asking
brand
the questions you're afraid to ask, right?
And I do have the privilege. I do have the privilege now of being. I have the capacity to be in rooms with people that most people don't.
Yes, agreed.
Like to be able to ask Grant Cardone how much.
What's in your bank account? What was in his account, by the way?
$170 million.
Just cash chilling in his account.
It was in about 5 different accounts. It was spread out, but it was actually there, and he showed me.
Yeah,
but he can't. But that's the thing. It's like, but people don't believe it. And this is another thing that I've learned that makes better videos is you have to be willing to say, I don't believe you. Prove that to me. Show me that. Because that is what the
viewer is going to be thinking.
The viewer is going to be thinking.
You're speaking for them, and you're like, hey, and then you prepare the guest for that.
No,
hey, I'm going to tell you I don't believe you.
To.
Okay.
I just say so I don't tell them what I'm going to ask. I just say I'm going to ask you a bunch of stuff. Some of it might be personal. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. Like we just move on. Or if you say something and at the end you don't want this published, again, that's fine. I'll delete the file. Like it will never see the light of day because I'm not in this to make my whole thing is that I don't want anybody to
paparazzi.
Yeah, I don't want you to look bad.
Right.
Like if you look good,
I want to grow you, so we keep working together.
Like I believe in Grant Cardone. I think he's awesome. It sucks that like I have a completely different perspective of Cardone than the entire internet that thinks he's a scam. I don't have that. I can tell you that his credit card always pays me on time. His team is super respectful. When we go there, like there's waters, there's like if we need anything, they like help us. Like I have never experienced anything bad from that man and his company.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that so it's like when I come and like if I'm doing videos for me and him, and I'm also very, you know, I have to read the room. It's like, are these videos for me? But I'm also here to do a job
for him. Speaking of Grant, you're right. I'm a huge fan of Grant Cardone. Honestly, if I ever get to shake that man's hand, I mean, I'm sure he's changed my life because I implemented the 10X rule book in my life, which is why we're here right now doing this. And I'm everywhere right now. And locally, I'm just constantly doing it. But when I left RiseCon and I made a Facebook post and I was like, Grant was the best speaker of the event, absolutely incredible, love what he was talking about. I made a Facebook post just hyping him up. Yeah. The hate that those comments went off about him, and people were talking about irrelevant things like, oh yeah, that guy's a creep. I saw a video of him showering with his daughter, and I'm like, what are you talking about right now? Like, I don't know where this stuff comes from, why they bring this stuff up. They attach themselves to hyper successful people's past failures or things they don't like about them, whatever. And I said, I don't know about his shower habits. I'm talking about his business principles.
Yeah, I'm like,
I don't know about these things. I don't give a shit.
I mean, I see it too, like with Chris Crone, like he's become a friend and he's a client of mine.
Homeschools all his kids.
Yeah, like you know, like I'm see the sad part. I'm in a lot of these videos where he's getting destroyed now. Like, and I'm like,
for what?
The one that just like Baller Buster, there's a lot of accounts trying to tear him down right now because apparently he does have an SEC investigation against some partners in him. They did some shit. I don't know, but whatever. I've just found, and this is something that I've learned working with some of the most successful people. It's only a matter of time until you get sued. And or investigated in some way, shape, or form.
Comes to the life, right? Like, you want that. You want all the goods. You're gonna have to deal with some of that.
So like with that, like, so the one video was like, it's just me asking him, you know, how he's going to live to be 144 years old, which like he believes it. It's a mindset. He's like, I know I'm going to die. He's like, but like, I don't want to think about that. I think about living. I think about living a long life. Like people just, they attach things and it's extreme. Like he speaks in extremes, which is why he's so fucking viral.
No, I like the guy a lot.
Yeah. But it's like, people just they take things at face value, and like his 5-hour morning routine, he really does that. Like he wakes up, that's what him and his wife do.
What is it?
Like, well, I don't know. It's a long one.
Okay.
But he gets up at like 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's like the first 30 minutes is like, you know, meditation. Then he goes on, like, he does like a 1 hour walk with his wife next to him on the treadmill. They meditate, they talk to each other. Then they actually set aside time to have sex. Then they have breakfast with their kids, and then they go and then they do their day. Like it's very. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's not for me, but like
he's a wild man. Did you film the video of him with the tank?
Yes,
that was you, right?
That was me. All the videos.
What is that?
The 6x6.
He has that. He just owns that.
It's his car with the fucking the Halo gun. We say Halo gun because we can't.
Crazy machine gun mounted on the back.
What's the vehicle? It's a Jeep. It's a custom Jeep Gladiator. It's turned into a 6x6. It's got with
like an $80,000 machine gun mounted on the back of it.
Yeah, I don't know the actual. I forget. It's like a something gun, but it's functional, fully functional. And I asked him, I was like, is that even fucking legal? And he was just like, we have some videos coming out about it. Like, but yeah, he said it's legal in all 52 states.
That's amazing. Yeah,
he had an assistant. He had his assistant call every state to make sure it was legal before he mounted it on his car.
Wow.
It's only illegal if it's loaded.
Yeah, he's a fascinating guy. If you guys,
we have some videos coming out that I'm like partially terrified to post, but usually when I feel like that means they're gonna do very well. He's a big game hunter.
Okay.
Like he's killed like zebras,
like fucking rhinos and all that shit. Yeah.
And like, but not just big game hunting, like rich people big game hunting, which is a whole nother world that I found out about by asking him questions.
Don't bring it up on this podcast. I already had a pee to run in once. I don't want to go there again. Actually, I will go.
Well, my follow up question is, so what do you think about vegans?
To him, yeah.
Like, and he said, I respect anybody in their beliefs,
dude.
So I'm like,
the controversy.
Yeah, but it's just like, you know. That you know, when it comes to asking questions, like I've found myself with some fascinating people that a lot of people have questions about, and like I'm like, okay, well, if it's gonna be me asking them, I might as well be the guy.
Do you ask sometimes, hey, I'm gonna go shoot with Grant Cardone, send in your questions?
They're never good.
No, okay.
Like they're never. I mean, and that's no disrespect. Like, that's the thing, like, because people, even when they send in stuff, I'm like, these are so soft. Like these are like the easiest. Like you can find that answer on the internet. Like, I want to know that, like, when we work with a client, we usually see the most explosive growth in, like, the first 90 days. Like, the first time we go film with somebody, it's very hard for us to replicate the results there because I'm going into I'm going to ask everything that the internet wants to know about you but doesn't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to ask Grant Cardone how to buy an apartment complex.
Yeah, he's made a lot of videos on that.
Like, he's already made that. But I am going to ask him what are his thoughts on homeschooling. What are his thoughts, or what is he going to do when he meets Sabrina's first date? Like,
I would ask him what's his workout routine. Why does he look so good for 64 years old?
Steroids.
I mean, true, but he's got. When I watched that show,
He owns 10X Health.
Yeah, true. 10X Health is awesome. Have you done this stuff yet? Yeah.
I'm on. I mean, I've been on TRT for 2 years. Like,
I'm on TRT too, but we just got into this whole world. So I shout out to Higher Dose, just did a brand collab with them, working with that company now. So we have a PMF mat at the house, infrared sauna. Plunge is another podcast sponsor, so the ice bath at the house.
Yeah.
And 10X Health has been something that I'm like really geeking on. Gary Brecka.
Gary Brecka, he's
amazing.
Talk about a viral personality.
Yeah.
Gary Brecka's, everything that man says is fucking viral.
Right. The 30-30-30 rule that Tim Ferriss talked about in the 4 Hour Body, he just went viral with that video on a stage, and I was like, it's gone crazy.
Yeah, Brecka's awesome.
Speaking of viral creators, we got to bring this guy up because it's a phenomenon, I think, in the world of virality. Liver King.
Oh yeah.
Now let's zoom out of Liver King for a second, and this I'm going to give you my take, and you tell me yours. I first follow Liver King because I'm because of the competitive fighting, because of lifting, I'm very much that way. I'm going to leave here, go on a cooking show. We're going to grill a giant ass tomahawk in the grill. Probably going to eat it with the bone. Like that's my vibe too, but very much like that. So people were sending me his videos early, and I was like, this guy's gross. Like eating raw meat with eggs. I was like, I don't care about this shit. But it kept going. And then people have their opinions. But the rate that man went viral was incredibly fast. Before you know it, he's on all the big podcasts. He's at the UFC. They're showing with the camera. He's dressing. I mean, he did something very unique, and he had to have brought in a team of experts to build that for him. That was a character he built. So what are your thoughts on how that was done?
I mean, I love I respect what was built and how fast and like the popularity, like, and that's one thing that Liver King did was he created a character, and that character worked.
He stuck with the character.
I just don't understand, like in this instance, like if you know you're doing steroids, I have no problem with that. I don't understand why you hide it. Like,
I mean that,
and I mean, I just feel like that. Like, but and now it's like what he built.
It didn't seem to hurt him.
Yeah, I mean,
it hurt his reputation. He's still blowing up. He's still selling products. He's making 9 figures a year selling his own products on what he did, which is amazing.
But people also, like, you're gonna have the people that's gonna affect, and they're gonna be really mad at you. Like, oh, he lied, or he was not truthful, and then it's like, okay. But the underlying principle, the guy's extreme, the guy's motivating, the guy's a character. You either love him, you hate him. Like he's funny, like he's got his kids doing this shit.
I love it. I love the life they have. I was saying that when I think about guys whose life I would actually want to have, Liver King and Joe Rogan are up there. And what I mean by that is I don't mean like live the life of the antics, but I'm like live on a ranch style property on your own land with your wife and your kids, rich as shit with your Dobermans, just living life out there. I'm like, that's pretty dope. Like that's a wholesome life in a lot of ways. And that's like,
the thing that well, people don't understand, like you look at Impulsive, like that's Logan Paul's podcast. Like Impulsive started shortly after he filmed in the Japanese suicide forest.
And then he went super
and he went, and everybody, and now everybody forgot.
That's what I'm saying. They forget. So
the internet forgets really fast.
What I was asking about
Jordan, like Jordan Peterson said that the life cycle for hatred on the internet lasts about 30 days. He said all you got to do is weather the storm for 30 days and move on.
I agree with that.
Like, so I'm like, and it might even be faster now because there's more coming out.
Yeah.
Like
when
there's more propaganda being posted, people forget.
I agree.
I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I was
no. What I was saying with Liver King, because my point is with him is that there has to have been a team like yours or a similar team. They bring in, they're like, hey, we want to blow up. We want to make this guy go viral. Like there's a structure and a strategy, and they do a lot into the production. And it just fascinates me from the actual video production advertising standpoint because it all drives traffic. And then something I learned recently, about a year ago, which really made it just go poof for me was I'm like, this dude bought all the farms that produce grass-fed animal supplements. So the dehydrated bone marrow capsules and liver and testicle, those, right? So he's the supplier to all his competitors.
That's so funny.
So it's not only does he own his brand Ancestral Supplements, but Carnivore MD, who has another brand, Liver King supplies him. So he is the one they have to buy from. So as a mogul and entrepreneur, he's checkmated the industry.
Well, it was probably there was probably a conversation.
Yeah.
Like that was like, okay, maybe he already owned that, so maybe that was in place long before the character came into play. But it's like we want to blow this up, so it's like if we create, because it's like WWE, man. It's like he's a wrestler.
Yeah, he's that guy. He's a character.
Yeah, like I mean, so it's like there was definitely some brainstorming and like, all right, we're gonna do this. Like, how extreme do we want to go here? And then it was just a matter of like putting the people in place. Okay, you need a full-time person to follow you around. We're going to produce this many videos every week. This much is going to go on short. Once we get to this level, then we're going to start reaching out to the bigger podcasts. But we might even, at this point, they might be reaching out.
I tell you us, which they did.
Like,
right?
so yeah, I think I'm definitely, there was a lot of planning involved, just like with everything. Like even like what Jake Paul is doing right now with boxing.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to discern what's real and what's fake.
Yeah, agree. He's been investigated for that fight.
Yeah.
He actually is heading like federal investigation for the last fight that happened.
I mean, but it's like, I'm just going to say, even if it was fake, I'm sure Jake Paul was smart enough to make sure that it doesn't say that it's fake somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's propaganda, it's media. And I mean, it's very hard to argue. Like, and like Jake Paul, like what he's changed boxing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like Logan Paul's changed podcasts. Like, you know, like, so it's like even the Liver King, like he's, you know, I don't know. Like he's changed a lot of shit. Like you will never forget the Liver King.
Yeah, raw meat, the carnivore diet. I mean, he did it up for sure. He did something incredible there, and I had to bring it up because I don't see his content as much in my feed anymore.
I don't either, but I was never too much into that.
But for a little bit there, I was just fascinated with the amount of time they'd put into these shoots. You know, like they would really put time.
He played the character. I mean, how long did he not wear a shirt for?
He still doesn't wear a shirt when he goes in public. Like you'll see him in a UFC fight and he's shirtless, and I'm like, they don't even let you in those arenas when you're shirtless.
Yeah.
So how does he get away with that? That's my point. That's what I'm like. What's going on there? It fascinates me.
Because here's the thing, they want the attention that he brings.
Yeah.
Like UFC or Dana White in this instance, there's probably a call. Liver King's here.
Yeah.
Like, they
bring
more cameras, make him more make him look way more cooler.
Which is what they did. They put him on the live broadcast. Look who's here, and they cut, and it's Liver King. Like they do it for the NFL players, but like it's Liver King. I'm like, dude, he's getting the UFC cameras on him. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing, because this is a world like there's a blurred line with attention and like what is possible and like what people want to like. It's hard because it's like values, like the belief, like it's all skewed now. And I mean, you even see it on the extreme level of like how popular porn and OnlyFans is now.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
You know, it's like where it's like now it's like, I mean, a lot of this shit, I mean, I have a daughter, so I'm not for it. Like, I don't want to tell people not make money. If that's how they got to survive, cool. But like, I mean, that's not the route that I would take.
That's not how you have to survive, though. I mean, surviving is different. Those girls are not just surviving. They're trying to live.
But then it's like on the other end of the spectrum, it's like how much money they're making, which means that there's people that are paying it.
Yeah.
That's what baffles my mind more so like.
Agree with that.
Okay, I get it. A hot girl can make a lot of money getting naked. That's kind of, strip clubs have been a thing for a very long time. That's always going to be there.
Yeah.
But these girls are making like $100,000 a month. That means there's thousands of men paying random girls all this money in the DMs and this, and like it's like statistically those are families. Those are like like it's like, wow, that's a bigger fucking problem.
Agree with
the
that.
The singular girl who's capitalizing on that problem.
Yeah.
It's like in this instance, she's the smart one.
I made a video on TikTok where I equated OnlyFans to smoking cigarettes. I equated, if you're promoting OnlyFans, you're like the OGs that promoting cigarette smoking. They're both toxic, bad for your health, bad for every part of your life, but as long as you get paid, you don't care, right?
Yeah.
And I got a lot of hate about that too, but it's like, it's the truth. Like, I think it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. You're promoting something, you're capitalizing on a psychological addictive tendency in someone weaker than you. You're selling a kid a cigarette or selling a weak, fat, small dick man, OnlyFans, whatever it is.
Well, in this case, it's free. Join my
I don't care if you destroy your family and give me all your money. As long as I get to go on my trip to Miami, I'm good with it. There's a lot to industry that's pretty fun.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, just in general, but that's like the internet too. Like you see it with influencers. Like you see the fakeness. I'm fortunate. Like everybody I worked with, like are some of the most like none of them are fake. Like they have, like, and I look at somebody like Ty Lopez. Ty Lopez is like an OG in this world. Yeah, but he got, like, and I saw it right away. Like, you know, obviously the Here in My Garage ad, with all the books and the Lamborghini. Yeah. Like, a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's a rented Lamborghini." It's like, you know, and what I've seen is like time will rat everybody out. Like on a long enough time span, was it either true or no? None of his shit was rented. He lived in that house for 2 years. Okay. I'm saying if he's renting his Lamborghini every day at $1,000 a day instead of buying it, then he's really fucking rich.
Yeah, I remember seeing I read a book a day every day. I remember seeing this early. It was like a YouTube ad before your video would.
Yeah, he was the king of ads. That had got like 1 billion views on a single ad. Like,
it caught my attention. I was like, "What's talking about?"
The fact about that is he filmed that ad like 70 or so different times.
Wow!
Just to get the winning version.
Wow, I love that.
Like that to me,
testing. Yeah,
but you know, it's like in Ty's case, like everybody's like, you know. And this is where the internet it'll sniff out the fakes over time. Like, you know, hopefully Liver King still stays around. Like he's
so rich now.
Yeah, you know, but
$100 million a year.
Like there's people that they fly up and then you find out some of the shit wasn't what it was, and then they fade off. Like and then on a time you have somebody like Cardone. Like the thing that fascinates me is like there's like accounts that are against him that are like he's always. It's like if the guy's been sued and like investigated by the FTC, the SEC, all these fucking places, and that's happened like 7 to 10 times, and they've never got him on anything. Clearly, he's not guilty. Because I would hope that our government system was good enough to put somebody in jail if they're really doing something.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong on that one. I don't know, but like at least that's what we think.
I'm with you.
You know, it's like same thing with like Chris Crone. If it comes out that something happened, okay, well then, then that happened. Like then he'll probably come to me and we'll have to figure out a way to.
But okay, this is a good point. Okay, so let's say something happened. That's what life is. That's what life is. Growth. Life is, hey, I fucked up. I know not to now. I understand why I was wrong. That's what we've all done since we were born. So that's something that people seem to be not accepting about anymore. If like someone will get to a level and they go dig up their old dirt, and it's like, yeah, bitch, that's why they got to that level, because they learned from a lot of experiences that made them pretty awesome after failing a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a matter of like, I mean, I think people like big creators, like if that's happening, I just think they should get head on with it, and they should talk about it quicker. Like, because I mean, I've said the same thing. I'm like, eventually I know that I'm going to be even bigger, and I've been arrested twice, and they're out there. So I've made videos about my arrests. They're already there. It's already out.
Like, yeah. It's good point. That's the Eminem, right? 8 Mile. Remember 8 Mile?
Yeah, 8 Mile. Like, you can't take it. There.
He said, now tells people something they don't know about.
Like, I've been to jail.
That was the
twice,
best line.
Actually. Yeah. And the mugshot I used in my video was actually from the first time because I couldn't find the second one. So I look even worse in that video. Like, so it's like, I think that those things are like, it's how people respond to the things. And I don't think even like, it is a finicky thing, especially when you have big followings and like a lot of people's money is at play. Like I think there's a lot of scrutiny, like when you look at like Cardone and Chris Crone, like because people invest in them, I think that opens you up to a lot more scrutiny than like if you just sell a digital course.
Right. Like that's the Wolf of Wall Street thing.
Yeah. Like which is speaking of Wolf of Wall Street, like I think that dude's a piece of shit. Like you ratted out all your friends.
And now he's got a podcast, and now he's getting famous again.
And he legit scammed, went to jail.
Got out. Yeah.
Fucking Leonardo DiCaprio played him. So if that doesn't say what's up with our fucking society, I mean, I don't know what is. Like, the most famous actor in the world played him in a movie.
I agree with that. Milena, who's my other half running the podcast right now, is one of her favorite movies, and she plays it. She loves that movie. So it's a point. Like, it's a story about a bad man that did bad things, but you watch it and he was good feelings. Oh my God, this movie's awesome.
Rewarded for doing bad things.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Like, which I mean, I love the movie too. Like, I think it's great. But I mean, that's it. It's like I think like morals and values are so fucked all the way. It's like you got to choose where you want to tiptoe and where you want to go. What pool do you want to jump in?
Well, on that note, as we get into wrap this thing up, I hope you guys got some value from Ryan today. I know I did. And this is not where it stops. So Ryan has put together an event. He's going to be teaching this and helping people. We got experts coming in from all over the place.
Yeah, lots of big people.
I saw people coming in from London to attend this thing, which I thought was pretty impressive.
I know.
So let's talk Attention Summit. What are they in for? What's going to happen? And why should they be so excited about it?
So it's actually next week. Let's hope we get this podcast out quick. No pressure. But it's January 4th through 6th. January 4th is a VIP day. I am charging for that day. The other 2 days are technically free. Reason
you're going to cap out?
I capped it. We have 40 people, which I think I might already have capped it. The room can hold 100. Like that room can hold 100 people. But I don't like believe in the false scarcity stuff. But like I want to keep it intimate to where that day is just me speaking. I'm going to have like my operator speak for a little bit, but it's like 8 hours of just me. We're going to be talking about growing agencies, more creative business stuff. Like it's fit for agency business owners.
Okay.
Because that is and the reason I'm doing that is that's a large percentage of my audience is people that have businesses like myself that want to. I have been fortunate enough to grow a multi-million-dollar video production agency, which I'm learning is not the easiest thing to do for most people. So I have a lot of insights and things and ways to do that. So that's what that day's focused on. The 5th and the 6th, which is Friday and Saturday, that's meant for if you're an aspiring creator at any stage in your life, as far as you're a business owner, you just want to be an influencer, whatever, and you want to get millions of views on your videos, like that. These days are for you. Basically, everybody I brought in, Adley Kinsman now used to be Adley Stump, but she's known as Adley on the internet. She used to be a singer on The Voice. She is one of the biggest prank girls on Facebook. She gets billions of views a month. She makes millions of dollars from those views. She's going to be teaching how she does that. Brandon Carter is going to be speaking about how he's one of my clients. We forcefully make him go viral all the time, get him tens and hundreds of millions of views, and he makes millions of dollars from those views. Myself, I go viral all the time. I make millions of dollars from my views. Credit Brothers are coming. They make millions of dollars. They go viral. The whole premise of the next 2 days is like, I hate that a lot of people assume that going viral is bad. And you hear it a lot, especially from what I would consider small creators trying to, say polarizing things. They say, well, you don't want to go viral because you're going to get the wrong people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I don't believe in that at all. Like, I want to reach everybody, and I'll let everybody decide if I'm the right person for them or not.
Yeah, I like that.
And that's a mindset that all of these people that are speaking have adopted as well, and they make the most money, and they get the most attention, and they have thriving businesses. I even have a company, Epic Dental. They sell cavity-fighting chewing gum. Their business thrives off going viral. They make millions of dollars from viral TikToks.
Yeah. I love it.
So that's the premise. There's gonna be a lot of good creators there. It's a donation-based event. You can donate $1 to secure your seat. Although I'm gonna remember every dollar.
Yeah. Don't be the dollar person.
Because the event is costing me around $30,000 to put on. Which is also another thing. People are like, "Why are you doing that?" Like you're doing you could charge for this. I said, I know.
Yeah.
But I've been going to events for the longest time, and I used to go to events, and I couldn't afford the ticket to the event.
Yeah.
But I would still book all the travel and fly to an event, and I would hang out at the hotel where it was happening. I would never go into the event because that was disrespectful to the event owners. But there's nothing that said I couldn't sit at the hotel bar.
Yeah. Love that. I love it.
So I believe in that, and I want people to be able to come because I know, like in the instance, we have a guy that's like 2 guys I think coming from India. That's a 26-hour flight.
Yeah, that's huge.
That costs them probably $2,000. Like, if I slap $1,000 price tag on my event, yeah, I'm gonna make a little more short-term money.
Price them out.
But they wouldn't come.
Mm-hmm.
But because in both of them, I know they donated a couple $100 each, which is cool. Like I love the donation-based model because it attaches a value. It's like, what do you value this at?
Yeah, I like that too.
So, but it's actually nightmarish for my operator because she's like, because we don't actually know how many people are coming, and I'm like, well, they donated.
It's gonna show up. There's gonna be 1,000 people outside the
canopy. I don't know. I hope. I mean, the room can hold 200, so we're gonna see.
Well, we're gonna be there for sure.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming
me.
on. Yeah, guys. Obviously, I would say go follow his content, but you probably already are.
You've seen me.
If you're not, you can easily go find it. And thank you once again. See you next episode. Peace.